may we merit perceiving his light, and following the ways of the Creator, and to serve him not in order to receive reward, but to give contentment to the Creator, and to raise them from the dust. May we be rewarded with the teaching with the Creator, and the revelation of his godliness to his creatures. Silent worship. What can I add now so that we may merit to give contentment to the Creator? Again, what can I add now so that we may merit to give contentment to the Creator? One must try to remember the goal while studying Torah, so it will always be before his eyes what he wants to receive from the study, that the study will impart greatness and importance of the Creator. Again, one must try to remember the goal while studying Torah, so it will always be before his eyes when he wants to receive from the study. So prior to learning Torah, a person should examine the reason for which he's learning Torah. For any acts needs to have some purpose that causes him to do the act. It is as our sages said, a prayer without an aim is as a body without a soul. For this reason, before he comes to learn Torah, he must prepare the intention. Again, it is as our sages just said, a prayer without an aim is as a body without a soul. For this reason, before he comes to learn Torah, he must prepare the intention. Silent workshop. Let's prepare our intention before studying. Again, silent workshop. Let's prepare our intention before studying. Intention before the lesson. Writes, one must try to remember the goal while studying Torah, so it will always be before his eyes what he wants to receive from the study, that the study will impart greatness and importance of the Creator. One must try to remember the goal while studying Torah, so it will always be before his eyes what he wants to receive before this from the study, that the study will impart greatness and importance of the Creator. Shalom. Hello. In the first part of the lesson, we learn from the writings about the articles of Shamari Sharmi 66 concerning the giving of the Torah. 1. We'll connect to lesson from November 22nd, 2021. Shalom. Hello. We are reading in the writings of the articles of Shamarti, or article number 66 concerning the giving of the Torah. You can find the study material on the site, and in your system you should click on the study material button. In the upper menu you can ask questions on the site. Selected questions that are relevant to the topic will be asked during the lesson. The giving of the Torah. With respect to the name Torah and the action of the giving of the Torah, from whom to where to whom does it take place? When does it take place? How can a person reach the reception of the Torah? And there are many questions in all of that, and this is what we will try to understand. So in the meantime, let's read concerning the giving of the Torah. The matter of the giving of the Torah that occurred on Mount C. That's a question already. Was there this occasion on Mount C? Did they give the Torah there? What about those who are not there? Does not mean that the Torah was given once and then the giving stopped. Rather, there is no absence in spirituality, since spirituality is an eternal matter unending, meaning it always exists for each and everyone when he is qualified suitable for the reception of the Torah. But since from the perspective of the giver we are unfit to receive the Torah, we say that the cessation is by the upper one, meaning the upper light comes down to us. We exist in it. In truth, there is no change in it. We speak in this way because it's easier for us to understand our connection, the matter of our connection with the Creator, that He's taking care of us in order to promote us, in order to elevate us from degree to degree. So we say that the upper light comes and it goes, and it's on different degrees. However, in truth, it is not so. This is why he says there is no absence. In spirituality, the upper light always shines. It's an eternal matter unending. But since from the perspective of the giver, we are unfit to receive the Torah, there are conditions for us to be able to receive this upper light called Torah. So we say that the cessation is by the upper one, but in truth is all from the side of the lower one. From the upper one, it's impossible that there is anything which is less than 100% giving, because that would be against his nature. However, then, at the foot of Mount C, meaning there is a particular and a general issue. So, the whole of Israel were ready to receive the Torah, as it is written, and the people camped at the bottom of the mount as one man in one heart. That time the public was prepared. They had but one intention, which is a single thought about the reception of the Torah. However, there are no changes from the perspective of the giver, the Creator. He always gives as it is written, that each day one must hear the 10 commandments on Mount C, meaning there is a special connection between the person and the Creator, and that special connection is called the occasion of Mount C, when a person rises above his hatred, above his ego, his will to receive his hatred to others, and then in that state, when he has ascended above it, he is then called Moses, meaning that he has reached a light that pulls him, a state that pulls him from his ego above it, and then it is considered that he is in the state the occasion of Mount C, and he's rewarded with the 10 commandments, meaning that he starts to understand, to feel, to connect with the upper one, the higher degree, and he starts to receive from it forces and conditions for how to be connected to it, and then he begins to understand and to feel and to acquire that higher degree, which is called the reception of the Torah. And he continues, the Torah is called the potion of life and the potion of death. We must understand how two opposites can be said about a single subject. The light, that's the same light that shines in such a high occasion. Even more than that, it has two qualities in it, and when it comes to the person, it can perform two opposite actions, to bring him, to come to him as a portion of life, or to come to him and bring him the portion of death. How can it be that these two things, which are opposite from end to end, remain and exist in a single place? They come from a single source, from the Creator. So he says the following: we must know that we cannot attain any reality as it is in itself. Rather, we attain everything only according to our sensations. Because the upper light, when it comes, well, we have no choice. We speak the way that we perceive things, the way we can understand them. It comes for senses, for qualities, until we perceive it, because it exists in certain vessels of perception that we have in our mind and in our emotions. And therefore we then say that what he says is the Torah is called the portion of life and the portion of death. We must understand how two opposites can be said about a single subject, and in such a high matter. And he continues and says we must know that we cannot attain any reality as it is in itself. Rather, we attain everything only according to our sensations, and reality as it is in itself is of no interest to us at all. We don't even know what it is. We have no vessels for it. We never tasted it. We have no rashmot, no records of it. And without records, we cannot say that this is interesting to us, that we belong to it, that we're advancing towards something. It's just as we see it with a still vegetative and animate, on the degrees that are below the degree of Adam of the human. Each of them operates within its boundaries from here to there. The person and the human, we see, and we can see it a little bit also in animals as they develop, that they undergo changes in their vessels of perception, in their behavior and so on, but also only in that range in which they grow, they develop, and not above it. This is what he says. We must know that we cannot attain any reality as it is in itself, including the upper light, including the Creator, including the friend, including everything that we feel in our senses. The thing in itself, we do not attain it if we have no sense for it, no ability, because everything that we attain it in our vessels of reception, or perception, that a certain influence enters our senses, and our senses, according to the way that they are constructed at that moment, they give us a certain sensation, and that sensation, then we can talk about it. However, rather we attain everything only according to our sensations, and reality as it is in itself is of no interest to us at all. Hence, we do not attain the Torah as it is in itself. It is an abstract upper light, entirely abstract. We do not attain it at all. We attain only our sensations. Thus, all of our impressions follow only our sensations. Well, for the time being, I don't see any questions. So let's continue. Therefore, when a person learns Torah, and the Torah removes him from the love of the Creator, Let's say that it removes him, distances him. Earlier, he felt himself as closer and with a greater inclination towards the Creator. This Torah is certainly considered the potion of death if it removes and distances him from the Creator. This is how we should accept it as a definition. Conversely, if this Torah that he's learning brings him closer to the love of the Creator, it is certainly considered the potion of life. Everything is according to the feeling. But the Torah itself, the existence of the Torah in and of itself, without consideration of the lower one who must attain it, is considered a light without a kli, a vessel, where there is no attainment whatsoever. We cannot perceive it, grasp it if it's as it is on its own, if there is no impression of it, because everything has to pass through our vessels, and according to the discernments, coming closer, moving away, good, bad, it is all according to our will to receive. With respect to how I attain it, how I feel it, according to that I actually measure that thing, without the consideration of the lower one who must attain it. The Torah is considered the light without a clay, where there is no attainment whatsoever. Hence, when we speak of the Torah, it refers to the sensations that a person receives from the Torah, the impression, the excitement, and only those sensations in the person determine the reality for the created beings. We don't know what exists outside of us, ever, but only whatever we feel, what is working on us. We don't know who is working. We also don't know. He can know from what we feel according to our vessels. Who is operating, and how does he operate? And it is all according to our vessels. Before the upper influence passes through our senses, and we perceive it, we understand it, we feel it, we can make some discernments in it. Before that we know nothing about it. Does it even exist or no? And how, when one works for oneself, it is called lishmer, not for her sake, but from we come to, for her sake. Hence, if one has not yet been rewarded with the reception of the Torah, he hopes to be rewarded with the reception of the Torah in the following year. The following year could be in a minute, or in a month, or in 10 years. That is a yeshar, is from the word shinui, change. So with the next new change he can be rewarded. When one has been awarded the wholeness of lishma, when he is in some mutual contact with the Creator, he has nothing more to do in this world, meaning in the present will to receive that he had, since he has already corrected everything. He corrected his will to receive, to be in the wholeness of Vishma. Then he starts to feel to a certain measure the Creator's influence on him. For this reason, each and every year there is the time of the reception of the Torah, since that time is ready for an awakening from below, the awakening from below. So we also need to understand that there is no good time or bad time. Those times, we can determine it about this. It says that Israel, meaning those who yearn for the revelation of the Creator, they are above the stars and charms, that we can always determine in what states we want to be, and from above there is no limitation. The Creator gave us a desire towards Him, and all the rest, my sons, have defeated me, as much as we are able to defeat His the egoistic desire that is separating us from the Creator. Therefore, in each and every, for this reason, in each and every year there is the time of the reception of the Torah, since that time is ready or suitable for an awakening from below. This is because it is the it is the awakening of the time when the light of the giving of the Torah was revealed in the lower ones. There was such a thing in general. In everything that we discover it with things that should have occurred in our root, and later on they already are in potential, and later on they actually arrive in actuality, as we learn in the wisdom of Kabbalah itself, that there are actions in the Osh and there are actions in the Guf. So the actions in the O are called actions that are in the root in potential, and the actions in the Guf are called actions that are in the branch or already in practice in actuality. So this is because then the time awakens when the light of the giving of the Torah was revealed in the lower ones. Hence there is an awakening from above, which gives strength to the lower ones to be able to perform the qualifying act, to receive the Torah, for them to qualify themselves, to elevate themselves with the sensitivity that is suitable for the feeling of the upper light as it was then when they were ready to receive the Torah. If one marches on a path where the Lishma brings him the Lishma, so that the transition from Lishma to Lishma is called the reception of the Torah. Then he's marching on the path of truth. One should hope that he will eventually be rewarded with achieving Lishma and the reception of the Torah, that his elements will change within him, and that he will reach the intention of, in order to bestow truly, at least to some extent. Then according to that he will start to get to know the upper world, the Creator. Yet caution is required to constantly keep the goal before his eyes, or else he will march on an opposite line, since the root of the body is reception for itself. Thus it always draws to its root. It always his body of the person, the goof, the will to receive, always draws to its root, which is the aim to receive the opposite of the Torah, that is called the tree of life. This is why the body considers the Torah as the portion of death. This actually is this small article concerning the giving of the Torah 1. Well, then let's see the questions ye have now, and we will start with ITA 4. You said before that we have to acquire a new sense of bestow, otherwise the Torah becomes the potion of death. What does that mean? It means that if a person is in the preparation, he hasn't yet reached Lishma, so that he will have at least a first degree of in order to bestow in his desire, but rather all of his desires for the time being, all of them are in order to receive. Then it is considered that he is under the control of the angel of death, because in order to receive is called the angel of death, because everything that he receives enters the intention of in order to receive, and in such a way it disappears. It is considered that it appears in the ocean of the Sitra, the other side. Yes, next. No. Let's say Mark 3. Hello world. In this article, there is this sentence with the word records. As I understand it, when there was an expansion from above downwards, all this accumulation creates a foundation for the world to rise up. So it's not clear what is the connection between the records and what we have to do. We get from above an illumination each and every one of us, the vegetative, the animate, and also people. Everyone gets an illumination from above, illumination after illumination each and every moment. This is what is happening to us. We develop by that, and this is called the times. This is how the whole of humanity is developing, and for that we don't need to be special. We simply exist, and we see that even the still, and all the more so the vegetative and the animate, they also develop. Those created beings that were alive few years ago, hundreds of years ago, thousands of years ago, they are different than how we are today. So everything develops through the reforming light that develops each and every part, each and every quality in nature, according to the qualities, according to its plan. And we're also all interconnected, each kind and also in between the different kinds, between the different degrees. Everyone influences everyone. As we say about man, that he has a special influence about everyone. His hand reaches everyone and everyone's hand reaches him. So the question now is, when the upper light works on us and it develops us, can we influence it for the better or for the worse? So they say that the upper light, when it influences us or bestows to us, you can influence it to the extent that you come closer to it as much as you and it are in common actions, in actions where you understand each other, are close to each other. Then according to how the light operates, you also want to operate, and then you certainly develop together much more part of creation that is not making such an effort. And this is how it was for us in the past, and therefore Balaam writes about it, that we have developed a lot more than other groups of people, because we had the opportunity to connect with the upper light, according to our actions, that we were going towards it with equivalence of form with it, meaning through connection between us, and then it worked on us in a way that we advanced, and we advanced well, and we were highly developed, until we ourselves corrupted it, spoiled it, if that's it. And it's the same here. The upper light influences us. It has a plan, the plan of creation, in itself, and we can try to come closer to that plan and to execute it. This is what we try to do. This is what we learn in the wisdom of Kabbalah, how to perceive the influence of the upper light, not instinctively, that it simply works and we change, without any coercively, with no choice, but rather how can we connect and come closer and identify with the upper light, and even awaken it more than how it changes according to the plan of creation. So, this is how we can do it. And in that the whole wisdom of Kabbalah is there, meaning it's the wisdom of how to receive the influence of the upper light. Either we receive it late, find the time that we don't manage to complete ourselves, or we try to be with it, or we try to draw to pull this light from above. It is constantly changing and growing, and this is how it brings us our whole development, which and every kind and at every time. And so what do we learn in the wisdom of Kabbalah? How to hasten our development by us drawing the upper light, by wanting it to influence us more. This is considered that it means that we have to raise such efficiencies to it such that they will be even more than how it needs to grow, according to the plan of creation. This is called it Israel. Those who yearn for the Creator they hasten the times, they sanctify their times. Well, in that there are many things, but in general, you know already what this is about. Thank you. A question for a friend. What is the qualifying act to receive the Torah, and how can we know that we are ready for the receiving Torah? The actions that qualifies us for the reception of the Torah is mostly one, the primary one, which is an inclination toward connection between us in the same style, in the same form as we were before, the shattering before the sin of the tree of knowledge, because then we were as one desire, and the upper light, that is the Creator, the presence of the Creator filled us. This is called Adam in the Garden of Eden, following the shattering. We need to collect those connections between us into the same form that was there before, not according to the desire that was revealed between us as the shattering. And of course we don't know not the form that existed before the shattering, and how to do it. However, there are few advice here, some advice from the Creator and from the chemist that those who did it, and altogether all of this advice, with the correct about the correct connection. It is called the wisdom of Kabbalah, and we try to implement it, and in that way to advance to the point where the upper light will influence our connection in the right way, and later on it will fill us according to our connection. Quality of Lishmar is it above risen, is in order to bestow above the will to receive. This is how we are return, each one to the others, in order to achieve connection between us. Just like in the goof in the body of Adam Harishan, and in order to bestow also it's that same action that we have to talk about, that we have to achieve. What else did you ask? I'd like to ask, what should I do with my anger which stops me from going above reason? I don't understand right now if Lishmar for her sake is above the will to receive, and my whole perception is within reason, but unable to receive. It doesn't let me rise above reason. No, it doesn't hinder it. One doesn't hinder the other. It doesn't hinder you. I can yearn to have knowledge, and at the same time I'm yearning even more to be above reason, which means to be above the will to receive. And in order to be above the will to receive, you need a will to receive, and the greater it is, you need to be above it, and then you'll be a great person. And therefore, we don't need to get rid of knowledge, knowing, or none of that. To the contrary, you need to pull all of these pieces of knowledge. You need to know everything, and Kohlists also write about it because it's unrelated to faith above reason. Faith above reason is your attitude to your qualities relative to the qualities of the Creator, which are the opposite. However, it's unrelated to knowledge. You can be a carpenter, shoemaker, or you could be Einstein, and it doesn't matter. As a shoemaker or as Einstein, you have to be concerned about being in faith above reason. Faith above reason refers to the quality of bestow, that it is more important for you than the quality of reception, but it's not that you throw away the quality of reception. One who is greater than his friend, his inclination is greater. You constantly, if you go forward, you will grow more and more in your qualities of reception, and this is so that above it, above the quality of reception, you will establish the quality of bestow. We'll talk more about it, but this is how it is. Bolshar 1. It's not clear to receive the Torah and the upper light. We have to be similar with our qualities to the giver. How does the learning of Torah bring us into the portion of death? How can that be? The Torah means the upper light which comes to us from the Creator. Actually, it is the Creator himself, but with respect to us. The way we receive his influence over our eyes, the way we accept it, what he does to us. So we are talking about a certain phenomenon that is divided into many phenomena. So there is the source, which is the upper force. And besides the fact that he created our feeling, I mean deliberately, I'm speaking like that he didn't create us, he created our sensation, our feeling. Because who are we? Our feeling, this is how I, feeling, can stop. And then where am I? I disappear. So the Creator created a feeling, a sensation, and that sensation is called a desire, a will to receive, a desire to feel that it exists, that it wants to feel itself as existing even more. And this desire to feel itself as existing, we say that it rules reality. And so we then talk about both of them, about the Creator and the created being, about the source of bestow and the receiver of the bestow. And the entire wisdom of Kabbalah talks in between these two about the Creator and the created being. And the created being, when he was created, he was born through the influence of the upper force, the upper light, the Creator, so that created being undergoes all kinds of changes, and the process that it goes through eventually will bring him to get to know his Creator, and that recognition can be only by attaining the qualities of the Creator. How else is it possible to know him? We have to make of ourselves a collection of those qualities that exist in the Creator. The Creator of B is called come and see, meaning as much as he wants us to attain him. So we have to research it and take upon ourselves those same qualities, arrange ourselves such that we will be similar to the Creator. That form, we are coming closer and closer to the form of the Creator, is called evolution. And it exists in all of the degrees, in all of our qualities. And this is how we go through different discernments of the still, vegetative, animate, and speaking. From the beginning of creation, from the point where there was something besides the Creator, he created this small will to receive that was a little bit different than him. And this is actually the act of creation. And all the rest, that's already the development. The Creator is the word Creator refers specifically to that action, that operation where he created what we call existence from absence. So maybe it's actually good that we discover the Torah is the portion of death as we advance. We reveal the Torah as the influence it's the influence of that upper light on us, influence from the Creator. This light passes through all kinds of operations, goes through all kinds of changes, filters so that we will be as opposite as possible from the Creator, meaning created beings that are as developed as possible in and of ourselves. But our development is opposite from the Creator, so the difference between the light and the darkness, between his qualities and our qualities, by this we can reveal him more intensely, more powerfully, in every manner, in every way, in the way that he initially decided that we have to know him. In this way we will talk about it. These are things we can talk about a lot. Who else do we have? Cad, I think something got stuck with. Blood, go ahead. But it's not Vlad's question, but something got stuck there. So in the article it says that there is an illumination from above that enables the preparation for the Torah. But we say that from above comes the light and the Torah. So how is that different from what we have from below? Well, there are many types of influence that come from the Creator too. The created being pleasant influence or pleasant bestow, or unpleasant good not good. These bestows or influences are called times because they build in us the feeling of time, the feeling of change as a sequence, the order of changes. And we want to attain the source of these changes, who is called the Creator boy. Come and see. So with that source itself we have no connection, but only by attaining the changes in us. This is called by your actions we know you. In other words, by his actions which he does, he performs on us, and I am a result of his actions. According to these actions, I have to research and come to a state where I know him 100%. What does it mean 100%? 100% of his influence on us. In it I discover these influences, and out of this I put together the image of the Creator, who he is. This research is called the wisdom of Kabbalah, or the science of Kabbalah, meaning we receive influences or bestows from the upper one. We study them. Through these influences, we want to relate. We want to relate to these influences in a way that we interfere as less as possible with these influences. It's like science say physicists, they want to be as objective as possible and not instill their interference in the research, not instill any signs of their own signs of interference to observe the phenomena themselves as clean the way they come and influence a person in order to come to such research. And that's the main thing, because the Creator wants us to know Him and know Him according to what we discover and come closer and do like Him, so we can know Him only by interfering as less as possible in what He does in us. So on the one hand, I have to study all of His operations, because that's the commandment, that's His will. On the other hand, I have to study as deeply as possible, but interfere with less as possible, meaning to influence it as less as possible, to interfere with it, intervene in it as much as possible, as less as possible in every realm of science that we research. When we study some natural phenomenon, that's what we want it to be like, so that when I go in there, I see everything and study everything, but it's as if I don't exist. I want it to be kind of clean, pure, to be in this pure manner or in every operation of the Creator. So when we want to do it this way, how can we? The Creator gave us our ways and signs. For it, you have to perform the restriction on the will to receive. You have to work above the will to receive, similar to me, in order to bestow. In this way, with a reflected light, you will begin to know all my operations in a clean, pure way as it is in itself, without you intervening in it. And He says even more, I have built for you a ladder of attainment, for as much as you can gradually adapt yourself to being, not interfering in your research of me. Accordingly, you will discover me and do with me whatever you want. No problem. I'm ready and willing for all those things. I anticipate them. And that study is called the wisdom of Kabbalah, and it's all process. We call it the process of the giving of the Torah. Moscow 7, in the second paragraph, describes the degree of the preparation of the people for the reception of the Torah, and he says he gives such conditions that people have to be whole as one man in one heart with one intention for everyone, and there has to be preparation from the side of the entire vessel, the entire people. So how can we project those conditions on us in the development of this broken Adam from the system of Adamism, meaning to the extent that his vessels are through the influence of the upper light, to the extent that they are drawn toward connection, toward unity. We study it as processes that happen in time and place and motion, and we learn that there are times for corrections of the still level, the vegetative level, the animate level, and the speaking level. We have come to a state called the last generation. It is the period when we correct the speaking level. On this level, there are no limitations. On the contrary, all the forms of creation should achieve complete correction, each in its own way and each according to its own degree. So there are no limitations on studying the wisdom of Kabbalah, the development of the wisdom of Kabbalah, the expansion of the wisdom of Kabbalah, the spreading of it. On the contrary, we have to abide by the will of the Creator and in this way establish Him. I may have misunderstood, or maybe I forgot the question. Denise, can you repeat it? Describes here the conditions for the reception of the Torah by the people. You know, people camped under the bottom of the mountain as one man in one heart. Well, that's clear. We need to establish ourselves as much as possible, from corporate reality to spirituality. Establish ourselves like a vessel that's going through correction, from the shattering to the correction. So we have to get closer to each other on the physical level and the spiritual level. Gradually, he describes here the condition that the preparation should be from the side of the entire vessel, from the public, from everyone. Meaning, if someone does not take part in that preparation, this projects on the entire public, on everyone. Well, it depends on each one. You saw more than once what happens with people in this world. Each one has a role. Each one is born with different qualities and different conditions, and each one functions. It's called go and live off of each other. In other words, either we are together instinctively in one system, and in this way operate on each other, or we already understand that we have to be connected, and then we perform more deliberate acts toward connection. Later on, he writes that Israel were ready completely to receive the Torah, that they wanted to unite, that the mutual help, mutual support, mutual connection would tie them together like cells in a single body. In other words, they make of themselves whatever possible, but at the same time, it's what they can do, and the rest is done by the polite. That's the way it is. The corrections are certainly from above. Turn to me, and I will redeem. If you allow me a last question about the same paragraph, what does it mean? That one must hear the 10 commandments on Mount C, each and every day, that in each and every correction we have to come to a state where all the conditions we receive, we realize them by correcting the complete tense. It's called hearing the 10 commandments on Mount C. We will talk about what are the tens. What is the mount? What is Mount C? In those things, of course, there's nothing historic or geographical about them. They are only conditions for the connection of the group within it in order to receive the upper light, so it will correct it. This is called the reception of the Torah, and being ready, so that the upper light that will correct it will also fill us. E3. When the Creator gives us obstacles, does it depend on us? How do we perceive them? How do we overcome them? For example, loving the friend, is that considered an awakening from below? I didn't understand. When the Creator gives us obstacles on purpose, he broke the vessel of a demolition. What could be more than that? So he's asking, does it depend on us how we perceived these obstacles and also how we overcome them? And he's asking, if we do overcome them, is that considered an awakening from below? When is it considered an awakening from above, and when is it considered an awakening from below? It's still difficult for us to understand. We really have to have the power to distinguish between the sources of awakening. I would put it this way, for now, for our matter, I can't say what will happen later. It depends a lot on the feeling and the preparation, and on how much we build a common desire. You could say that if the vessel feels that it is creating a common force among the friends, and that force is the operator, and it begins to be an independent force that exists in and of itself, it is considered that they have seemingly engendered from within them. They're like a womb. They are engendering the Adam out of them, meaning some new quality in their connection, which is similar to the Creator. And then, this already exists in and of itself. Okay, so when we make this effort, like you said, to overcome resentment towards the friends and love the friends, is that considered that we're drawing the reforming light. What does it mean to overcome the friends? We have to overcome our will to receive. When we put in the effort to overcome all the obstacles, in some form are we actually drawing the reforming light, to the extent that we have this disposition to connect according to the vessels. By this we influence the upper light. So it will come closer to us, approach us, and will influence our efforts to connect. This is called the light operating as reforming light, which returns us to the good state we were in before the shattering, and to the extent that we complete our quarter for the time being. When we have completed our efforts to connect accordingly, we'd advance, and likewise every time. Okay, thanks. Thank you, Rob. If we don't interfere with the Creator's influence on us through the restriction, then this lack of intervention later accumulates. Or how does it work? Can you repeat? If we do not interfere with the Creator's influence on us, then later on, our lack of intervention somehow accumulates. So what happens later? I don't know what you mean by not. The fact that we don't intervene with the Creator in creation. This is called non-existing, that we are less than the inanimate, than the still. Afterwards we have the vegetative, animate, meaning we operate in some way more actively. What does it mean? The still is still nothing, influences it. It's got only one quality, to maintain itself, the way the Creator created. It doesn't resist it in any way. The vegetative already wants to absorb something on its own from the environment, and accordingly to grow toward the Creator. This is what's called vegetative, and animate receives even more powers to know reality, to be active in the perception of reality, and so forth. That's the animate level. The speaking level wants to attain even the upper force, meaning his thoughts, his plan, his desire, his will, his goal, and himself try to achieve that same goal. So the difference between the still, vegetative and speaking in spirituality is huge. Who do we have here? No queens. Queens, thank you. When we engage in the Torah, meaning engage in this tool, we can receive a lot of correction. What does it mean to receive the Torah? Receiving the Torah, there are many things about it. It is called first and foremost understanding the plan of creation according to a person's degree, advancing toward a state where you are involved in this program. You participate in it. This is called that you're changing yourself in order to realize the Torah. This is called learning Torah. The learning cannot be passive. When I know that something is written, rather it is on our flesh, as it's called, meaning I perform all kinds of operations according to the light. The light influences me, and I through my operations influence the reception of the light, and this way we work together with it. This is called working the Torah with the Torah, practically just like working with a machine. When I work, I change something in it. Then I study what has changed, and I change something else, and I study what changed then. And in this way we learn Torah. And by this, when I influence the system as a created being, and the system is what connects me to the Creator. So out of this we study the Creator. Okay, no, PT19. Thank you very much, Rar. What is the first degree that we have to acquire in order to be still? The first quality is that within the same will to receive that I want only to bestow to resemble the Creator as much as possible, to be like Him as much as possible. So there are necessities that my body needs in order to exist, to be healthy. It is written about them, neither praised nor condemned. You just have to do them. Just like if you want to drive a car, you need to see that the car is working properly, but not more than that. More than that means you want to receive pleasures already. So relate to the body as to a machine. You take care of it, and nothing more. That's it. Can I ask another question, Rob? Yes. You said to a friend once that we also have to attain the knowledge that it's important, and above it to cover it with a desire to bestow. Sometimes the friend asks a question, and you call him a smart wise at night. So how does that work together? If that's dude reveals desires only to know, like scientists in this world, not in order to change, improve toward connection with the friends, and by this cause the revelation of the Creator in order to bring him contentment. In other words, he doesn't want to awaken the upper light so it shines on us. He is called smart because he wants knowledge, but at night because his intention is not to bring the light. The 10 is asking, how do we know in the 10 that we're walking on the path of the portion of life and not the portion of death? He touches on it in several articles. If I'm going with the portion of life, I feel elation, awakening, inspiration. I see before me what I have to do. I may not want it so much according to my nature, but according to my connection to the Torah. I understand that there has to be an ascension here, an ascent above my nature, which is called, and is called, faith above reason. What is felt in the 10 during the time of the portion of death versus the portion of life? When we feel the portion of life, we connect, or we feel in it that the portion of life is the upper light, which circulates, is circulating among them, connecting them. That's the portion of life. When the Creator awakens in them, and in this way sustains them to that extent they feel adhered among themselves and with their Creator. The portion of death is to the contrary, does use the word potion or drug. A drug or a potion is a medicine. That's why it's called the potion of life in medicine too. All the medicines are drugs, but the medicines that put to death, it's hard to call them medicines. Medications are something that helps. It doesn't necessarily have to be a chemical pill that you take and you feel better. Anything that helps you is called medicine. This is how lawyers use this word. That's the word. We'll go to the next part. Study between friends. We're very excited to study together. From the study, the very special experience to do it with friends. It's unlike studying anything else. We know that this very special material, very special light, a special approach, we're going to go through this lesson together. There will be no teachers, students, instructors here. There will be a group here with one single special heart. Yes, and soon we have a congress coming up. Our whole society is aiming for this gathering, and friends are making efforts all over the world. We want this very special text from the Balaam to prepare us to give birth to this prayer within us of the congress. Rav directs us with an intention before the study. He says we should try to connect between us, except number 5, right? Except number 5. We need to try to connect between us and yearn to go through the changes that the test talks about, so it will influence us and change us, and the change will make us resemble the Creator. Again, our intention, we have to try to connect between us and long to go through the changes that test discusses, that it will affect us and change us, and the change will make us resemble the Creator. So let's open up item 17 and inner observation. Part 1, item 17, and with this intention, we'll enter the reading, and in the Hebrew book is page 19. Man feeds on the yeast of the shells and thus uses the will to receive as they do. 17. Now I can understand the root of the corruptions that were incorporated promptly in the thought of creation, which is to delight his created beings, and after the cascading of the 5 general worlds, Adam and the shells appeared in the 4 worlds of tumor of impurity, as in God has made them one opposite the other. In that state, the turbid corporeal body is set before us, of which it was said, for the inclination of a man's heart is evil from his youth. This is so, because its entire nursing from its youth is from the yeast of the shells, the whole matter of the shells, and impurities, the form of the desire only to receive, that they have, and they have nothing of the will to bestow. By this they are opposite from him, for he has no will to receive whatsoever, and all he wants is to delight and bestow. This is why the shells were called dead, since their opposeness of form from the life of life severs them from him, and they have nothing of his abundance. Hence the body, too, which feeds on the yeast of the kipot, is also severed from life, and is filled with filth. And all of this is because of the will to only receive, and not to bestow that is imprinted in it. Its desire is always open to receive the whole world into its stomach, and this is why the wicked in their lives are called dead, since their fundamental disparity of form from their root, where they have nothing of the quality of bestow, severs them from him, and they become truly dead. Although it seems that the wicked too have the form of bestow when they give charity, etc., it has been said about them in the Zohar, any grace they do for themselves, as their aim is primarily for themselves, and for their own glory, like the righteous who engage in, not in order to receive reward, but to bestow contentment upon their Maker, thus refine their bodies, and invert their vessels of reception to the form of bestow. It is as our teacher said, it is known and revealed, and I did not enjoy even with the little finger. This makes them completely adhere to him, for their form is identical to their Maker, without any disparity of form. Our sages said about the verse, say unto Zion, you are my people. It was interpreted in the introduction of the Book of Zohar that you are with me in partnership. This means that the righteous are partners with the Creator, since he started creation, and the righteous finish it by turning the vessels of reception into bestow. Yes, so now we'd like to read again, and we will accompany the reading with Rav's words. So let's prepare clip number 3 in the broadcast, and then we'll start reading. Man feeds on the yeast of the shells, and thus uses the will to receive as they do. When you connect to the Creator, as you change, accordingly, the Creator changes in your eyes, and you feel yourself approaching to him, and the root of all corruptions is the will to receive that we received from the beginning, and all the rest of our actions are all guiding us toward holiness, if we do them correctly in order to bestow contentment to the Creator. That's how it is. So only the righteous are the partners of the Creator. What does that mean? The righteous are those who justify the Creator, and in each and every state he goes through, Noah just receives such an attitude from the Creator. The Creator is just. He justifies creation. He wants to raise man to his own height, and that's how we advance. We are continuing After the cascading of the 5 general worlds, Adam and Abby, the Kipot appeared in the 4 worlds. Abby of 2 as in God has made them one opposite the other. In that state, the turbid corporeal bodies set before our eyes, of which it was said for the inclination of a man's heart is evil from his youth. This is so because its entire nursing from its youth is from the yeast of the Kipot. The whole matter of Kipot and Tum is the form of the desire only to receive that they have, and they have nothing of the will to bestow. By this they are opposite to him, for he has no will to receive whatsoever, and all he wants is to delight and bestow. This is why the Kipot are called dead, since their opposedness of form from the life of life severs them from him, and they have nothing of his abundance. Let's watch clip number 11 please. About this excerpt, we can portray ourselves as a neutral body that can be under the rule of the Kipot, the shells, or under the rule of the light. Depends under which dominion it is found, and accordingly we feel, we make decisions, we judge, and we exist accordingly. So either to be fed by the Kipot, the shells, or be fed by the sanctity. That's the choice. From the beginning, a person is fed on the yeast of the shells, as he says, and that's why he uses the will to receive, as they do, and using the means we were given, which is the study and the work in the group, that we can then transition from the influence of impurity to a be of impurity to a be of sanctity, and we change accordingly from one end to the other. It depends on which system is working on us. Now we'll continue in item 17. From the word from hence the body. Hence, the body too which feeds on the yeast of the Kipot is also severed from life, and is filled with filth. And all of this is because of the will to only receive and not to bestow that is imprinted in it. Its desire is always open to receive the whole world into its stomach. This is why the wicked in their lives are called dead, since their fundamental disparity of form from their roots, where they have nothing of the quality of bestow, severs them from him, and they become truly dead. Although it seems that the wicked too have the form of bestow when they give charity, etc., it has been said about them in the Zohar, any grace that they do for themselves, and their aim is primarily for themselves and for their own glory. But the righteous who engage in Torah and mitzvot not in order to receive reward, but to bestow contentment upon the Maker, thus refine their bodies and invert their vessels of reception to the form of bestow. It is as our teacher said, it is known and revealed, etc. And I did not enjoy, even with the little finger. This makes them completely adhered to him, for their form is identical to their Maker without any disparity of form. Our sages said about the verse, say unto Zion, you are my people. It was interpreted in the introduction to of the Book of Zohar, item 67, that you are with me in partnership. This means that the righteous are partners with the Creator, since he started creation, and the righteous finish it by turning the vessels of reception into bestow. So now, if you wish to relate to a particular point he mentioned in item 17, that is, the root of all corruptions, except number 10, is saying the following about the corruptions. He says the root of corruptions, except number 10, the root of corruptions is the will to receive, that we received from the beginning, and all the rest of the actions, if we do them correctly in order to bestow contentment to the Creator, that will all aim us towards sanctity. Again, the root of corruptions is the will to receive that we received from the beginning, and all the rest of the actions, if we do them correctly in order to bestow contentment to the Creator, they all aim us towards sanctity. We know what are the actions that we need to do in the tense in order to ourselves at sanctity. We all know, we're all veterans. We all experienced know are the principles of the work of the 10, but how do we do them correctly? Because if we didn't receive what we needed to receive up to now, I guess something is missing in our work. And Raf says the root of corruption is not simply the will to receive, but that we'll be able to correct them if we do them correctly. All those actions. So, our question is, how do we do all the actions in the 10 correctly? The actions that will aim us towards sanctity. How do we do them correctly? 7-minute workshop, please. How do we do this correctly? First of all, announcement towards the 10, towards the friends and raising their importance. And then we try to bestow to them to love them. You can't provide the single formula for your entire life, because to receive, after each and every correction, grows stronger and increases each time. You have to study, most importantly, that the goal will always be in front of our eyes, so that the Torah will be a portion of life and not a portion of death. Yeah, what is our direction with all those actions? And all those actions, what fits us, shells or the sanctity? We need to ask that in every action we do, it will give contentment to the Creator, through the contentment to the friends. Yes, like a rifle, you have the crosshairs. Doesn't matter what state we're in. Israel, the light, and the Creator are one. And that's the guideline. In every state, doesn't matter the setting, doesn't matter what we feel. In everything, we can make a bit more effort and try a bit harder. Like what said, everyone is veteran, everyone knows, and we just have to try better. We have all the actions already prepared, according to what Kabbalists explain to us, on what we have to do in society to study correctly, relate correctly, and we always need to aim ourselves towards sanctity, to give contentment to the Creator, and to truly learn how to use our will to receive in order to bestow. Says, holiness is the quality of giving. So, every action we do we can examine. Whether it's in order to give, is it in order to connect? Says it's very simple to discover. Whether we are aiming at the kosher or not, we can see whether we're moving towards separation from the friends or we're moving towards connection in our actions, and that's what tames us. Yeah, this is true. And also I was really struck by in this lesson, and actually in the last few days, Rav keeps aiming us towards the quality of the action, that the quantity of action is insufficient. Rather beyond the external framework, there have to be actions. That's where the actions begin, all the bodies and so forth. It's not yet action. All our work is in the desire, and the desire is what ultimately needs to change. So all the actions that we try to do in order to transform the desire, they are actions that we can get a response to them, and we always need to maintain the intention. The intention is to give contentment to the Creator through the friends. I don't know if there is such a part that is correct, that is right, because it's opposite to what's incorrect, and a person always changes and the states change. So every state has its correct or incorrect. So we have to just wash ourselves with the articles of Rabash all the time. A compass for sanctity is that then if I announce myself, I give everything I think and feel, and I just walk according to the direction the group sets, the feeling of the group, then I'm on the right track, and there too. You are for the 10. They are in instead of me, or I'm instead of them, as if I make do the action for the friends, or I'm nothing and I'm just for them, and I want the Creator to help us to change our direction, that the what's precious is the 10 and the Creator. Yes, and we have the reforming light that works on us. Once we dip ourselves in the articles of Balaam, then the light of the Kabbalists and the light of Torah simply change our hearts, our minds, into their mind, and they're feeling the quality of love and bestow. So we need to constantly add sources. Yes, and we should always examine our relation to the friends, how much we think of them, how much we pray for them, and not think of ourselves. This is an indication for us that we truly want to reach, that we care about the friends and their spiritual development. Says in addition, it's not enough that we're working towards the friends and want to connect with them, because then the friends become part of our ego. We have to constantly invite the Creator as the third factor that allows us to walk towards sanctity. So now in the lesson we have an opportunity to realize all of that. Yeah, we heard some beautiful things from the folks group here, and we heard in the lesson that we can realize in this lesson everything we talked about. We're going to continue reading shortly, but before that, we're going to watch clip number 1 in order to renew our intention. Let's continue the study correctly. Clip number 1. An impression comes from the words Bism wrote for us, and we need to try and connect between us and yearn to go through the same changes, that what's written in test will affect us and change us, and that will make us similar to the Creator. That's what we want to happen. Item 18. All of reality is contained in self and is extended existence from existence, and Only the will to receive is new and is extended existence from absence. Know that the whole matter of innovation, that the Creator had innovated with this creation, which our sages said he elicited existence from absence, applies only to the form of the desire to enjoy, imprinted in every created being, as nothing more was innovated in creation, and this is the meaning of Maker of light and Creator of darkness. Interpreted the word Creator as indicating a novelty, meaning something that did not exist before. And you see that it does not say create light, since there is no innovation in it, by way of existence from absence. This is because the light and everything contained in the light, all the pleasant sensations and conceptions in the world, are extended existence from existence. This means that they are already included in him. Hence there is no innovation in them. This is why it is written Maker of light, indicating that there is no innovation or creation in it. However, it is said of the darkness which contains every unpleasant sensation and conception, Creator of darkness, since he invented them truly existence from absence. In other words, it does not exist in his reality whatsoever, but was rather innovated now. The root of all of them is the form of the desire to enjoy, included in his lights, which expand from him. Initially, it is only darker than the upper light, and is therefore called darkness, compared to light. But finally, the shells, the wicked, cascade and emerge because of it, which cuts them off completely from the root of life. This is the meaning of the verse. Her legs go down to death. Her legs indicate the end of something. He says that in the end death cascades from the legs of Maut, the desire to enjoy that exists in the expansion of his light to the and to those that feed off her and follow her. This inner observation is something else. It's one of the most amazing texts of Balism. Let's read this again with a special emphasis, special attention to the whole matter of create Maker of light and Creator of darkness. We'll then also see excerpt 14 from Rob, where he elaborates on that. So let's build a vessel for that. Let's read again item 18 headline. All of reality is contained in and is extended existence from existence. Only the will to receive is new and is extended existence from absence. 18. Know that the whole matter of innovation, that the Creator had innovated with this creation, which our sages said he elicited existence from absence, applies only to the form of the desire to enjoy, imprinted in every created being. Nothing more was innovated in creation, and this is the meaning of Maker of light and Creator of darkness. Manades interpreted the word Creator as indicating a novelty, meaning something that did not exist before. You see that it does not say create light, since there is no innovation in it, by way of existence from absence. This is because the light and everything contained in the light, all the pleasant sensations and conceptions in the world, are extended existence from existence. This means that they are already included in him. Hence there's no innovation in them. This is why it is written Maker of light, indicating that there is no innovation or creation in it. However, it is said of the darkness, which contains every unpleasant sensation and conception, Creator of darkness, since he invented them truly existence from absence. In other words, it does not exist in his reality whatsoever, but was rather innovated. Now the root of all of them is the form of the desire to enjoy him, included in his lights, which expand from him. Initially, it is only darker than the upper light, and is therefore called darkness compared to the light. But finally, the shells, this other side, and the wicked cascade, and emerge because of it, which cuts them off completely from the root of life. This is the meaning of the verse. Her legs go down to death. Her legs indicate the end of something. He says that in the end the death cascades from the legs of Malat, the desire to enjoy that exists in the expansion of his light to the and to those that feed off her and follow her. Oh, now let's watch clip number 14, where Rob explains to us about Maker of light and Creator of darkness. From wanting to discover, bestow, correspondingly, we discover reception. That's why Maker of light and Creator of darkness exists in us. but not before that. Before that there's nothing besides preparation for our inner sensation. Now there's a question here. When are we called created beings? Finally, where's the beginning of this creation? What can you call a created being? Which discernment from above down? It's the cascading of the light. The light works and brings everything down to this world. In this world, in this evolution, nothing happened by the decision of men. Only those who begin to attain the force of bestow by themselves, they begin to separate, to distinguish, to understand and to extract from creation the force of reception called maker of light and created creator of darkness. One opposite the other. Yes, we wanted to connect to his light. Yes, we want to connect to his light and expel the darkness through the connection between us. We keep holding on. We are now going to watch another clip. After that, we'll have a workshop. So let's watch the clip with special attention and then we'll enter the workshop. So first let's watch clip number 15. We're asking everyone to be in the clip so we can go into a workshop from that, please. The desire to enjoy remains the desire to receive delight and pleasure, the desire to enjoy. That's me, that's my matter. I can't cancel that whatsoever. The Creator can conceal somewhat this from myself. He can open it up somewhat, but that's the matter that does not change. It just appears in me, in my awareness, more or less. And then I want to enter such work in partnership with him, whereas much as he opens up this matter called the desire to enjoy, I give it the right form. I want to give it the correct form by the group, and I ask him, give me this light, give me this imprint of the right form of these letters, the correct letters upon the matter. That's what I want, but the matter remains in the same matter. The use of it instead of the desire to enjoy from just whatever enters me, so won't enter that more than a thin candle light. I want to enjoy from being the bestower, and then from through me all infinity goes onwards to others, and suddenly I don't see others, but rather I see my entire Klee. That's how I acquire the entire world, what becomes mine, and this is how I receive it. And with that filled with a revelation of the Creator, with a revelation of the pleasure within the desire. Yes, said in the clip, this is what I want, but the matter remains the same matter. The way we use it instead of the will to enjoy whatever just goes in me for no reason, no more than a tiny light. I want to enjoy being the bestower. Then, through me all the light of goes through me to the others. Again's words, the matter remains the same matter, but the way we use it, instead of the will to enjoy whatever just goes in me, for no reason, no more than a tiny little light. I want to enjoy being the bestower. Then through me all the light of passes on to the others. So now we want to go into a workshop and answer the question, why, by wanting to bestow, it's not considered an egoistic desire? Again, why by wanting to bestow it's not an egoistic desire? Play 7 minutes. Me wanting to enjoy from bestowing. It's simply, I have no intention for myself, meaning I want it to be for the benefit of others. I guess we're speaking about the righteous, because right, that also the wicked, who bestow and give charity and good deeds, are considered as dead. Maybe this is the state where we're doing everything for bestow, and all we're trying to do is bring light to others. It should be like an inner revolution. The whole previous tendency that we're living for ourselves, like those supposedly righteous that are doing it for themselves, that they think they're righteous. We have to reach a state that the light works, and we'll be together, asking together, have a screen, which is what gives us the ability to work for the friends in order to bestow. Then we start feeling we're rewarded with our will to receive working there also in order to bestow, and that the screen has you help us with this 100%, and that will be rewarded as much as possible. Maybe rewarded as much as possible. We're in a certain stage. As we go on, we begin to receive in order to bestow. When we get to that and understand what that is, that by the friends and the friend and to the Creator, well, the purpose of creation is to do good to the created beings. The Creator wants us to receive all the pleasure from Him. We have to prepare ourselves, purify ourselves, prepare our vessels to receive the pleasure, starting from this refinement, from preparing the intention the vessels to be only in order to bestow, and not to receive for ourselves, and, eventually, to be ready to receive in order to bestow, says to us that we're a vessel to receive. There's nothing wrong with that. That's our matter. So like this glass, it's a glass and it just receives. The difference is whether I want to receive for myself. This is something I can change. I can't change the matter. I can change the intention. So if I want to pass along this light, this water to my 10, and then I can enjoy it. It's an action I can enjoy from, and it's not egotistical, because I'm transferring the light that I received from Insel to the 10, and that's the plan of creation. Like he writes here to begin with, the form of the desire to enjoy which is included of his lights which expand from him to begin with are just coursed from the upper light, and then it's called darkness, but in the end they cascade, and the wicked emerge from it as well. So what are these discernments that of the desire that is all right, meaning he says that it is kind of already darkened from the upper light. So this is okay already. Is that not egotistical? So only later on he says, but however he says there's some kind of inversion that happens here in the end. There's the kipot, there the shells, and there. So probably this part of it is the part of the shells and the wicked that are cutting it off from the root of life, meaning there may be a state in which this desire is not cut off from the root of life. So probably everything that can be included in the upper light in the desire is okay, and it's even desirable, and whatever is cut away from that is truly dark, is death, like he writes here. In Shai says, I want to enjoy in order to bestow, and don't want to bestow in order to enjoy. Again I'll read that I want to enjoy in order to bestow, and I don't want to bestow in to enjoy. In order to bestow, I'm obligated to enjoy. Otherwise, in what am I bestowing? What a coolest. Yeah, SH is our heart, center of our 10. I also want to add, just like a person wants to resemble the Creator, so this action is the action of the Creator enjoying that he bestows. Because the Creator is great, and out of love he does it, and to reach bestow. As we learned, it's working in partnership. The Creator gives us the will to receive. We have to work with the group to correct it to bestow. It's the advantage of light out of darkness. We hear the focus group, and you can see where the great friends take you. It's truly to infinity. You can feel the whole vessel. Yeah. You're just working with the text. That's a great privilege that we have to study together. Let's read from number 7, from the intention during the study with, from Rav question. What does it mean that the righteous are those who complete creation? A man who begins to study the wisdom of Kabbalah, the study of begins to see how, through the correct study in the group, the correct study, he goes all the time through changes, and this is actually the purpose of our study. Through the study in the 10, we connect between us, and our force is greater, more aimed towards the Creator. And then we feel the change we go through from a lesson from 26th of August 2025. Maybe again. Person who studies the study begins to begins to correctly see in the group in the correct study how he constantly goes through these changes, which the purpose of our study is. Through the study of the we begin to connect more, and our force becomes greater, more directed to the Creator, and we then feel the change we go. Now friends, we're going to move to read item 19 together from the study of the 10, the header, because we are branches that are extended from the things that are in our root are pleasurable to us, and those that are not in our root are burdensome and painful. Burdensome and painful. 19. We can ask, since this disparity of form of the will to receive must be in the created beings, how else would they be extended from him, and shift from being creator to created being? This is only possible by the above mentioned disparity of form. Furthermore, this form of the will to enjoy is the primary essence of creation, the axis of the thought of creation. It is also the measure of the delight and pleasure, as we have said above, for which it is called a place. Thus, how can we say about it that it is called darkness, and is extended to the state of death, since it creates separation and corruption from the life of lives in the receiving lower ones? We should also understand what this great anxiety that comes to the receivers because of disparity of form from itself and why the great worth about it. To explain the subtle matter sufficiently, we must first clarify the origin of all the pleasures and suffering felt in our world. Know this: it is known that the nature of every branch is equal to its root. Therefore, the branch desires, loves, and covets every conduct in the root, and does not tolerate and hates any conduct that is not in the root. This is an unbreakable law that applies to every branch and its root, because he is in the root of all his creations. Everything in him and which is extended directly from him is pleasurable and pleasant to us, for our nature is close to our root. Also, everything that is not in him and is not extended to us directly from him, but is rather opposite to creation itself, will be against our nature and will be difficult for us to tolerate. For example, we love rest and faintly hate movement, to the point that we do not make even a single movement if not to find rest. This is because Aru is motionless and restful. There is no movement in him whatsoever. For this reason, it is against our nature and hated by us. Similarly, we love wisdom, power, wealth, and all the virtues, because they are contained in him, who is our root. We hate their opposites, such as void, weakness, poverty, ignominy, and so on, since they are not in our root, making them despicable, loathsome, and intolerable to us. We should so examine how there can be any extension that does not come directly from him, but from the opposite of creation itself. It is like a wealthy man who court on a common person, fed him and gave him drinks and granted him silver and gold every single day, and each day more than the day before. Note that this man simultaneously tastes two distinct flavors and the great gifts of the rich man. On one hand, he tastes immeasurable pleasure due to the abundance of his gifts. On the other hand, it is difficult for him to tolerate the abundant benefits, and he is ashamed when receiving it. This matter causes him intolerance due to the abundant gift showered on him every time. It is certain that this pleasure from the gift is extended to him directly from the wealthy benefactor. But the impatience at he felt in the presence did not come from the wealthy benefactor, but from the very essence of the receiver. The shame awakened in him because of the reception and the free gift. The truth is that this too comes to him from the rich man, of course, but indirectly. In a moment we'll enter the reading of the Zohar. We'll simply increase our intention and serve from the test to the opportunity for us to increase the opportunity. Rob was asked, what is the meaning of this intention we want to build? So if we can see number 3 from Rob's words, what's the intention of bestow we want to build? It means that you don't want anything for yourself, but you want to operate only for the Creator. Of course, none of us has such an intention, but it's as it is written here already in the beginning of this part. We're capable of drawing this light, this force that will correct us, and then in us as well. The intentions will be to act for the benefit of the Creator. So now together, friends, we're entering the Zohar reading. Thank you everyone, and we'll connect to the Zohar. A reading from Zohar for all Volume 1. We are in the introduction to the book of Zohar. The article is rejoicing in the holidays and not giving to the poor. We're in 178. We're starting in the paragraph that starts with, and moreover Sarah said, you said, you laughed at her. I'm going to read from Rav's words. Try to get into the heart, into the layers of coarseness that are there, and try to detect what is happening in these layers, because it's happening. However, we do not feel it. The Zohar is there, the Creator is there, and the whole world, it is all there. Inside the heart, inside our desire. However, I am not aware of it, and I cannot discover it. I am simply sealed, like a drunk unconscious, of what is really going on inside me. You're actually in the world of, and everything exists. All we have to do is try harder to get inside, to poke around and sort out where each and everything can be found inside there. So we're in Zohar for all, Volume 1, the introduction to the book of Zohar. Rejoicing in holidays and not giving to the poor. 138 and 78. We are starting with a paragraph. And moreover Sarah said, you laughed at her. And moreover Sarah said, you laughed at her. Sarah is in the quality of mercy that shines in by saying, God has made laughter for me. Anyone who hears would laugh at me. She extended a complete light and great mitigation until no deficiency was seen in the actual quality of any longer. There was great fear that because of it, there would be no attention left to correcting the actual malat. This is similar to the words, lest he reached out his hand and took from the tree of life as well, and ate and lived forever, meaning that he would not feel any deficiency in himself any longer and would not have to correct the flaw in the tree of knowledge. 179. Creator told him, who in the world is like Abraham, but the slanderer did not move from there until he confused all of that joy. And the Creator commanded that Isaac would be made an offering as a sacrifice, and Sarah was condemned to dying with grief for her son. All that sorrow was because he did not give something to the poor. Commentary. The tying the binding of Isaac was in order to correct the actual malat which he did not correct with a great feast on the day of Isaac's weaning. The death of Sarah was because of the great light that she extended in the words God has made laughter for me which obstructed in the correction of malat. The next article, Torah and prayer. 180. Shimon opened and said, it is written in his, turned his face to the wall and prayed to the Lord. Come and see how great is the power of the Torah and how superior it is to everything. Anyone who engages in the Torah fears neither upper nor lower and does not fear the evil illness in the world because he is clung to the tree of life and learns from it each day. 181. This is so because the Torah teaches the person to walk by the path of truth. It teaches him advice on how to repent before his master, to revoke the sentence, for even if he is sentenced, that the sentence will not be revoked. It is immediately cancelled and removed from him, and it is not present on a person in this world. For this reason, one must engage in Torah day and night, and never leave it, as it is written, and you shall meditate on it day and night. If one moves away from the Torah or parts from it, it is as though he is parted from the tree of life. Explanation. He began with a prayer in the verse, and Hizkar turned his face to the wall, and interprets it only in the Torah. The thing is that this advice rose to him only by the force of the Torah by which he obtained arriving at complete repentance until nothing separated between him and the wall of the holy, and this is why his prayer was accepted. Hence the sentence of death that he was sentenced was revoked. This is why he ends that because we see that the power of the Torah is so great as to revoke a death sentence. One should engage in Torah day and night, and never part from it. Time. 182. Come and see an advice for a person. When he goes to bed at night, he should take upon himself the kingship of above wholeheartedly, and come early to deposit his soul to him. He will promptly be saved from any bad illnesses and from all the evil spirits, which will not govern him. Explanation. The Lord called the light day the light of Atishan, and that we obtain from the Creator. This is the governance of the day. He called the darkness night, meaning the forces of separation that separate us from his light are the governance of the light of the night. Hence we sleep at night, which is 116th, of death, which is the governance of the out of those two governances. We cannot cling to him forever because we arrest his Atishan by the force of the governance of the night, which always returns and comes over us and stops us from the work of the Creator. To correct that, Rabbi Shimon gives us an advice. Each night before going to sleep, one should take upon himself the kinship of above wholeheartedly. This is so because when the night is corrected as in the act of creation, when it is written, and there was evening, and there was morning, one day when night and day are united into one body, and one day, and then the night is called the governance of Malat, and no shell is mixed in her. Clip. We're going to renew our intention with a clip. We're only speaking about the connection between us, and all types of connection is what the said is telling us about, how we every time can ascend through this connection to higher and higher degrees, how we can strengthen it through the lines, the new records, awakenings, illuminations, and so on. It's all in order to increase our connection, meaning a more and more connected vessel that corrects the shattering, and according to the intensity of the connection, discovers the common quality of bestow between the parts that were separated, and now connect above their ego, that is, called the upper light that is revealed. If the parts only annul themselves in order to connect, it's called the light of. If the parts also work with their ego in order to connect, that's called the light of. Simple. Everything is connection, no more. We will continue with our reading. Hence a person should take upon himself that upper mal, that upper kingship too, wholeheartedly without any partitions between himself and the mal. That is, he must take upon himself the kingdom of heaven for life or for death, and nothing in the world will remove him in anything from the upper kingdom. As it is written, and you shall love the Lord your God with all your heart, and with all your soul, and with all your might. And if he has accepted it wholeheartedly, he is certain that nothing can ever part him from the Creator. By that, it is considered that he has advanced into giving him a deposit of his soul, because he came first to hand his soul into the hand of the Creator, to keep his commandments in full to complete devotion. For this reason, when he sleeps and his spirit departs, he no longer tastes in it 1/6 of death, which is the power of some, but devotion on the path of commandment, since the power of death no longer governs him, for he has admitted it into the power of devotion of a commandment, and when he does so, the governance of the night cannot blemish him any longer and arrest him from the pleasantness of the work of the Creator. For to him the evening and the morning are one day, and the night is only a real part of the day. Hence he is immediately saved from any bad illnesses and from all the evil spirits which do not control him, for his night has already parted the domain of their, since nothing can ever part him, and the holy, and the forces of the and the judgments do not govern him any longer. 183. And in the morning, when he rises from his bed, he should bless his master, walk into his home, and bow before his hall with great fear, and then he should pray his prayer, and take advice from the Holy Fathers, as it is written, and as for me, by your abundant grace, I will come into your house. I will bow to your holy temple in fear of you. Commentary. By your abundant grace is to bless his master for the grace he has done with him. I will come into your house means to enter his house. I will bow to your holy temple means to bow before his hall. In fear of you means with great fear, and then he will pray his prayer. This is why it is said that he should take advice from the Holy Fathers, since the prayer that we pray is the correction of the holy, to extend abundance to her, to satisfy all her deficiencies. Perhaps all the requests are in plural form, such as, and grant us knowledge from you, bring us back, our Father, into your lore. This is because the prayer is for the whole of Israel, since all that there is in the holy exists in the whole of Israel, and what is lacking in her is lacking in the whole of Israel. It follows that when we pray for the whole of Israel, we pray for the holy owner, since they are the same. Thus, before the prayer, we must look into the deficiencies in it to know what needs to be corrected and filled in her. However, all the generations of the whole of Israel are included in the holy Shinar, and we no longer need to correct all those corrections that she received from the generations before us. Instead, we must complement them to correct what is still missing in her after their corrections. The Holy Fathers are the inclusion of the whole of Israel. They are the three roots of all 600,000 souls of Israel from every generation, through the end of correction, and all the extensions and bestowals that the whole of Israel extend and receive in all the generations are first received by the Holy Fathers. From them the abundance reaches the whole of Israel in that generation that extended the abundance. It is so because this is the spiritual order that no branch can receive anything except through its root. The primary illumination remains in the root, and only a part of it extends to the branch. It therefore follows that all the corrections that were already corrected in the holy stand and exist in the souls of our Holy Fathers. Hence, one must not enter the house of assembly unless he has first consulted with Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, for our whole prayer is to complement what is still missing in the after the corrections that have been made in it thus far. Thus first we must know and extend all the corrections that have already been corrected in the holy, and then we will know that what still needs to be added to them. For this reason, one must not enter the house of assembly before he seeks advice from the Holy Fathers, for one must consult the Holy Fathers to know what must still be corrected. And this is possible only after we extend in the Holy everything that the Holy Fathers have already corrected in her. And then we will see what is still missing in her, since they have already established the prayer that is the Holy. The correction of Abraham is called morning prayer. Isaac's correction is called afternoon prayer, and Jacob's correction evening prayer. Therefore, we must first extend the full measure of correction that they have already corrected in the prayer. Then we will know what we must still pray for and correct, what is still missing in her. We're going to move now to report about the convention from the Chinese group. Dear worldly, dear teachers and friends, I'm very excited to share that from October 9 to 11, the Chinese local Congress of the Global Kapalar Convention will take place at the Fun 3 Hotel in the beautiful city of Hjo, China. So far, 15 friends have registered, including 3 friends from the Turkish and Amarty grows. This is the 9th time that the Chinese girl is holding a local congress with more than 8 participates. We also have 5 students from the Kabbalah Academy 2023 and 2024 who will be attending this physical congress for the very first time. All the friends in the Chinese group join the preparation work. It's our great sister Funpin who lives in the same city who find this best congress place for us. Now let's hear from Funpin to share some exciting stories. Dear teachers and friends, it's a great honor that the congress will take place in my beautiful hometown near the West Lake in Ho. I took on the responsibility of finding a suitable conqueror's place. In July, I started looking for hotels. Although my husband does not study Kabbalah, he actively helped me, and together we inspected 4 hotels in person, comparing costs and comfort to reduce the financial burden so that more friends can join the Congress. In August, a miracle happened. During our meeting with the manager of our hotel, we were offered the 4 days of free use of the meeting room, serving us more than $1,500. Cheered, and all friends cheered and thanked the Creator for his blessing. More good news. Last week, when we returned to the hotel to discuss reserving rooms and make a deposit, the manager informed us all guests will have a free breakfast, value at $6. Guest rooms will be reserved for us without an advanced deposit. The meeting room will provide a free coffee and with water throughout the day. The hotel chef can prevent the meal ordering service for lunch and dinner for us. This is truly the best proof of the Creator's blessings. We look forward to hearing more groups share how the Creator blesses all of us and how our prayers are answered through the preparation for the Congress. Thank you, Creator. Thank you, dear teachers and friends. We love you all.